Good morning, everybody. It's great to speak on such an important conference. Congratulations to all of you to really work with students' organizations, students' movement, and really students' networks to really look at the localization and implementation of sustainable development goals. I was very, very grateful to our dear friend. He said, we are having this conference which will really bring an important discussion about what can young women and young men do in their schools and universities to really implement sustainable development goals. At the onset, I want to point out a very critical indicator in goal number 4, which is 4.3, that calls for global citizenship and asking for every single human being to get engaged in sustainable development goals. We finished with 1 year, close to finishing a 1 year of sustainable development goals. And we first and foremost need to, as students' organization, what I call as the 4 critical actions. The first thing is to really amplify, voice out, express, and create awareness on sustainable development goals. To that, just to say that the consultative process that really brought everybody together on September last year brought all the world leaders to agree on these goals. So we have 17 goals that are interrelated and very much governed by the principle of people-planet partnerships. And this is really critical to really bring out when you're having these conversations in your classrooms. So will you, as students groups, take a pledge to make sure your schools are green schools? Will you look at advocating for renewable energy? Will you ensure that in your school system, the most marginalized students get an opportunity to get educated, especially the girl child and minorities groups, children with disabilities, indigenous groups, So I think that's something which you can really live when it looks at, talking about sustainable development goals. The second action is to really take action, which is what can you do as students groups? Will you adopt a local community and to make sure that there is recycling, there is, solid waste management, or you're in a rural community with lack of water, you can look at how the rainwater harvesting can be done through school and their roofs that can supply water for sanitation. You can also work on ensuring that your school system is green and is adding on to more plants and trees, and you're adopting these trees not only just in schools but in your communities and the neighborhoods that you live in. The third element of taking students' action is really to look at accountability, which is to really become first and foremost the eyes and ears of all the young people around you, to see how your governments, really provincial governments and local governments, are really adopting the sustainable development goals. How are the governments fulfilling the education goal? How are they fulfilling the ending poverty goal? How are they fulfilling the job creation? How are they fulfilling the goal on gender equality or related to climate action? So I think these are very critical things for you to keep your eyes and ears open and participate in the My World 2030 survey, which invites everybody to really participate in watching over that what is happening and what is not happening. And last not the least is really to really offer your partnership as students groups in all these 3 areas and say that we are not just going to be sitting and do one conference here or another Facebook post there. We will engage. So I invite you to look at the youth participation in post-2015 toolkit that I've developed with other colleagues. It gives you very substantive examples of what students like you are doing today on really implementing, localizing the sustainable development goals. I particularly want to thank the Global Youth Revolution Clan for taking on this challenge on bringing everybody together and making sure that's a collective action that happens. We have another 14 years to go. Remember, when we're sitting on 31st December 2030, we definitely want to see a more progressed human agenda, and that's why the unique factor of the Sustainable Development Goals is that this is universal. Every single government or country that is a member state of the UN will be assessed on their progress on bringing about changes in both the conditions and the position of the most marginalized groups. So with that, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here, and all the best for your conference.